race we've had at the Italian Grand Prix, a Ferrari win. That was massively surprising, wasn't it? Charles Leclerc with the drive of his life. Just rung back George Russell in Belgium, didn't it? Just stuck on the one stop to go so long on the hards, where everybody again was, well, most cars did 2 stops, didn't they? Ferrari went bold, had nothing really to lose and went for it, and well, he got all the spoils. Let's take a quick look through the race. Well, it was a great start for Charles Leclerc, wasn't he? Made up 2 places. George Russell made a mistake or got caught out by Oscar Piastri down into turn 1. Oscar Piastri then made a move on Lando Norris, crucially for him and his race, and that caught Norris out, and then Charles Leclerc pounced on that, got up to 2nd position and ran there pretty comfortably, and then wasn't really going away. Oscar Piastri didn't drop Charles Leclerc at that point in the early stint. Charles Leclerc stuck thereabouts, pitted from lap 13, and to go to the end from there was bold actually, because nobody knew what the tyres were going to do. Would they last? McLaren actually went onto the radio to Oscar Piastri saying, could you make this to a 1 stop to the end? And he was saying, no, my front left is just not going to make it. And well, that proved crucial, that call, didn't it, in the end? Lost and cost him the win. There was action further back. Daniel Ricciardo, Nico Hülkenberg incident on lap 1. Hülkenberg taking out Yuki Tsunoda. Sadly, that was the end of his race there. And then there was just the pit stop undercut calls, wasn't there, really? George Russell undercut and got the move done for him. He was in a recovery mode from there, really, from that mistake early on. Verstappen was, well, he had a slow stop on lap 23 when he finally pit, and you thought, oh, could they do anything from there? And it was just really a horrible race for the Red Bulls. And then it was just purely Ferrari and McLaren could. Oscar Piastri was the man, really. He should have really won this race. He was so fast, comfortably ahead of his teammate Lando Norris. Was pretty much faster than him for most of the race. He gapped Norris after the first stop about 5 seconds, in fact. So you know, looked like he had the race comfortably under his control. But then it got away. He went for the 2nd stop, and they kind of got a bit blindsided, didn't they, really? They thought probably everybody would pit. Ferrari kind of had nothing to lose. There was enough of a gap behind the McLarens to who they were really kind of fighting with Lewis Hamilton to fall in that gap if it didn't work out. And so they went and threw a Hail Mary. It absolutely stuck. Let's get to the 3 good and the 3 bad for the weekend, because yeah, I'm going to start with the race winner, Charles Leclerc and Ferrari, with the strategy call. Thank God, finally they put it together in their home race to pull off the win. Was absolutely mega. Like I said before, let's hope he's just ate enough pizza before this race to not come underweight with the car now, and can hold on to this win. A great win in front of the Tifosi. It was brilliant scenes on the podium, wasn't it? He was so emotional in that, and 2 home wins for him, isn't it? Pulled it off in Monaco, pulled it off in Italy. The 2 places where Ferrari, your drivers and Ferrari really need to win, and they've done it. Upgrades worked in the race conditions, didn't they? The tyres were in the worst condition. They weren't falling off a cliff at the end. And Carlos Sainz was up there in 2nd. He went longer in the first stint, and I thought he'd be better off against the McLarens, but they both pounced on him when they got up close. But I think it was just the fact that Charles Leclerc managed to keep such a good gap. And well, brilliant race result from him. 2nd of the 3 good, I'm going to go for Oscar Piastri, although it feels like a kick in the teeth and a race lost, but a crucial move, turn 2 on Lando Norris, and yeah, just was faster than Lando Norris, wasn't it? Right up into the first stint, comfortable. In the second, after the first round of stops, grabbed Lando Norris when he thought Norris might be on the charge and put the pressure on. Was about 5 seconds ahead, and then after the 2nd stop was, well, again, faster of the 2 McLarens, was absolutely on a charge. Got close to Charles Leclerc in the end, but not close enough to get a pass. It kind of left too much to do at the end, wasn't it? But I think overall he can be really happy with his race. I'm going to get to the McLaren team orders and the Norris thing a little bit later on in the video, because have McLaren really made the wrong call on not switching drivers, given Norris is the man really fighting for a championship and Red Bull where they are. But before that, the final three of the three good. Alex Albon, P9, best of the rest. The Williams upgrades worked for him. It was important points and a very, very good race. And I'm going to give a shout out to Kevin Magnussen, P10 from P13. He had a scruffy race, got a penalty, but then held on just by 0.2 of a second from Fernando Alonso for that P10. But hats off to him, a very, very good race. I know he's come under a lot of scrutiny so far this season, but that is a really good job from him, and he needs that. He's got hasn't got a race seat for next season. There's only 2 seats left, isn't there, for the end of the season. Let's go to the first of the 3 bad. Nico Hülkenberg is the first of them. A really scruffy race from P10 to finish P17. It will be so disappointing. It looked like he'd be the faster of the 2 Hasses, but then was way back. Didn't have any pace in the race either to recover from his early escapades. But I'm sure he must have got some damage there potentially from that, but again, disappointing from him. And the second of the 2 bad, Lance Stroll, P17 and finished, beaten by a Sauber as well, finished effectively last, P19 finish, 3 seconds behind Zhou Guanyu as well. So he went for the softs right at the end with 2 or 3 laps to go. Not sure if that was just an attempt to steal the fastest lap points off it was Lando Norris that nicked that in the end. I know Lewis Hamilton was a 10th of that fastest lap as well. He went for that right at the end, but he didn't even pull that off. So a really horrible weekend. Sums up an awful weekend for the Aston Martins. Go home with no points. They've got an awful lot of work to do. And the third of the 3 bad, and it's Red Bull. Wow, you'd never thought you'd put these guys here, would you? But Max Verstappen, I think he had a power unit issue, so a bit of slack really, but there was just no pace at any point in the race, was there? Even when he came out after the second stop, he was on the mediums, fresher tyres, was 8 or 9 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton at that point, and you thought this could get a bit tasty. He's got the fresher tyres, he's got the medium, technically faster tyres, but he didn't make any inroads. Finished 14 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton, or 15 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton in the end. So really disappointing from him. And then Sergio Perez was running P7. He's got beaten by George Russell, who had an incident, and then managed to come down and then finished 14 seconds behind Russell again, on the faster, fresher tyres, but still couldn't make them work on that Red Bull. To go from being dominant, the 1-2 cars early doors, they're way down, aren't they? Finishing 6th and 8th is not where they want to be. And I'm going to get to the big one now. McLaren, are they just throwing this away? It's Lando Norris is the man for the Drivers' Championship. The constructors now looks like they are the ones that should win this now. 10 points in it between them and Red Bull, so in the constructors, so like if they could comfortably take the lead in that next time out in Azerbaijan, should Red Bull not be able to fix their problems. And Lando Norris finished 3rd just behind Oscar Piastri. They have asked that to switch around, because let's be honest, it's only Norris that can catch Max Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship. They didn't do it early doors, but now when you think with 10 to go, 9 to go now, you really need to give your man every little chance he has of winning that championship. And they're not doing it, which I understand. They've got 2 number 1 drivers. It's probably the terms they kept Oscar Piastri on, but when it comes to championship, you've just got to, get the first one in. McLaren haven't won one for an awful long time, and they won't do if they do this sort of pussyfooting around between the pair of the 2 number 1 drivers. It's going to suck for Oscar Piastri, but I think it's crucial for the team. If Lando can get that Drivers' Championship, it's there. You need to take it when you get the chance. You can't be just giving away points. Now it's really, I think the pressure's on McLaren. They've got the strategy wrong here this time. Ferrari nicked to win, just like others have done in the past. So massive job and call for them. But let's go back to Ferrari. What a win from Charles Leclerc out of the blue. What a surprise to do it in his home race with all that pressure. They were saying, weren't they, in the start of the race, like, looking at a 1-2, they were running 1-2 with what, less than 10 laps to go. So absolutely phenomenal call from them. I wouldn't say they're back, but they have got a car now that looks like they're back in the fight, at least for podiums, which is much better than where they are. And well, absolutely brilliant racing this weekend in Italy. Cannot wait for the action to get going next time out in Azerbaijan. A 2-week gap, so no race next weekend. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment as always. I hope you enjoyed the race as much as I did. It was brilliant. See you next time.